Armand, this is such a special film for you. I feel like it was meant to be for you. You play this role with such vigor, and there's heart, and there's humanity behind what feels like dementia. Is there something that made you want to be Don Q or drew you to this movie?
That's an interesting question. No, not really, but I will say I've always been attracted to the theme of what Cervantes wrote in the real Don Quixote, which is and I think the film, the film was in a way a Valentine to the idea that people are in a sense we're almost deluded by everything available to us today, but principally what drew me to the idea of a character like that who fantasizes himself as a mobster. He fantasizes himself finally what he really becomes is his true self, and you realize that this guy really does have a moral authority, unlike any other character in the film. But what interests me about it is very much to me what's happening in the world today, because I think the theme of Don Quixote and the theme of Don Q is really about powerlessness. People who feel genuinely powerless, who feel impotent in the face of so many things they're trying to comprehend and they can't get a grasp on. We feel powerless by the polarities these horrible polarities that are put before us, that um, the politics of the day, the sense that can we do something to quiet the storm? Can we do something to get people to talk to each other? Can we do something to create some kind of dialogue? What can we do? And a lot of people feel genuinely numb. And I think that very much is the theme of Don Q. And I think that he finally becomes a character who explores all his fantasies. Maybe I should become this mafioso so I could resolve
Yes.
everything real quick, and I would have the ghosts of all these guys with me. It's a complete delusion. He's off his medication. But my point is that you finally realize that he's also been clocking everything in the neighborhood very carefully.
Yeah,
And at the end of it, you realize he has a certain moral gravity that nobody else has.
absolutely.
That idea, I think is with probably will always be relevant. But I thought, especially for the time we're living through now, we started this film literally post-COVID. So we started to make the film, and we made it very quickly. But my point is that I think that feeling then was maybe even more than now, or maybe more now than then. I can't tell, but I tell you that feeling of not knowing what's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 weeks. That was then as well. And I think people, I mean, I only saw this film once at a film festival, and I will say that what I watched in the audience, that's what they were interested in. That feeling of this guy's an idiot, but he's got a point, because I feel the same way.
There's so many poignant scenes to this. I have to ask you if there's a personal favorite for you. Is it when a particular mobster is speaking to you? Maybe it's the dancing scene that's simply gorgeous.
No, the only scene I worked on myself and I kind of improvised it myself was the very last scene in the film where he talks to his sister, because finally he unfolds his heart and says, you've destroyed my books. My books are everything I had. It was my moral barometer for the world. You destroyed the legacy of my conscience. And really, I mean, he destroys his sister in that, because he knows his sister was complicit in probably the death of his own parents. She doesn't even know that. She's not even aware of what her complicity had led to. But the point is that I love the idea that he says you destroyed my books, and I think that anyone who's had a library. I mean, I have a library, and not that I've read every book in my library, but My point is there are milestones in each book as you go through life, and why books have significance in people's lives. They're milestones. I remember the age I was when I read this book. I remember the age I was when I read that book. Why it had such a devastating effect on me. And I think that I worked on the theme myself because I said that I got to do this myself. It's a very personal scene for me. That was my favorite thing. And I love all the actors in it. They're wonderful. They've all been very successful in their own right. It's a hoot. If I could describe the film, it's a Valentine.
Yes, I was going to ask you what you hope lingers with people that watch it. Is it mental health? Is it authenticity? Is it if you see something going on, say something? Is it maybe all of those things? Is it
I think
looking after people who you love still? You stop
I think I
focusing
think
on yourself?
I think if people can laugh at the idea that all of us, there's not one of us that can escape our own illusions about something, our own delusions about something, because, because Don Q is filled with them. He's the embodiment of a delusion person off their medication. And in a strange way, I mean, if one knew the statistics of how many people have to take some form of medication, it would be off the charts. But I think that's who Don Q is. He's one of millions and millions of people.